A little bit about me. People, when I meet somebody for the first time, ask me, where are you from? I always answer Biloxi, Mississippi, you know. Nobody will know. But start laughing and will remember me. This short, fat guy from Biloxi, you know. Really, I was born and raised in Argentina, in the province of Córdoba. If you are hunters, you know Córdoba because it's the dove hunting paradise. And I'm the first of 10. I try to put people in perspective, you know. I'm not a specimen that comes from nowhere. I'm the first of 10, you know. That picture was from the early 60s. This is my educational background. I was trying always to do something different. At the end, after I divorced for my first time, my shrink recommended me to do something else than working, and I started studying. And my doctoral thesis was about the Republic of Texas. I never imagined that 20 years later I will be living here in the best country in the world. It's not the US, it's Texas. And this is part of my background. I worked for Holderbank, now it's Holcim, for several years. Then I worked for the World Bank in the Y2K mitigation for the province of Córdoba. Then I worked for the IDB in Guatemala, Costa Rica, and Mexico. Then I started my own company, Endeavor Program Management. We create mathematical models to solve different industries, mainly logistic, maritime, and ports. Also TexDot. They hired us 2 months ago to try to understand this little problem that we have with traffic, you know, congestion. And then I started working with Mr. Robert Sackwicks and another partner dealing with digital document advisors. We create a corporation and a service named Document Forever. And also we create this, in Spanish is Instituto blah, 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 but in English is legislative and technological harmonization for the legal document, digital document, Inter-American Institute, you know? And the idea is, in Latin America, you don't sell if you are a for-profit company. You need to be a non-profit company. You sell. It's a paradox, but it's the way. If you try to go by yourself, forget it. If there is an institute that disseminates the concept, what we are doing is marketing, period. We are trying to tell them, hey, this is available, blah, 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 you need to work with us, you know? Okay. All the governments, including the US government, has a 21st century facade, but a 19th century back office. All of them. And people say, no, it's not true. It's true. Go to the back office, go to the Harris County clerk. We went to visit them, and everything is on paper. Oh, but they do some digital. Everything is on paper. Go to the Texas courts, everything is on paper. But we file cases, everything is on paper. I will not read what you are reading, you know. And this digital facade is managed by, is employee-driven. I'm not saying that civil servants are good or bad, but the temptation is huge. I used to be a Secretary of State in the Córdoba government, and somebody told me, somebody that was there before me, before you receive a file, please tell your secretary to check page by page. Everything needs to be correlative. Everything needs to be signed. Why? Because if I remove a page of a 356 file that is buying a 1 million computer, people remove a page and insert a new page. That is here happened too, you know. Don't look at me like I'm talking about, no, it's real, absolutely real. And that happened when they are trying to add digital signatures. Yes, e-signature works where somebody enforces it. The IRS, when you are late presenting your tax return the last day, the day before, you know, you don't sign. You sign with a very simple electronic token that you are sending the tax return to them, you know. If you are in other countries, it's almost the same. Mortgage company can impose you. Last time that I refinanced my house, Chase tried to impose me and say, okay, I will not do the business with you. If you impose me an e-signature, but it's the way that we work, but it's not the way that I work. I want to sign a piece of paper. I'm an old guy, 60 and above. I don't understand that. But Luis, you understand that you are somebody that comes from that side, you are a technical guy, yeah, but I don't trust. If I can sign, I sign. And these type of problems are always there in governments. Latin America, Africa, maybe more propensive to be more corrupted. But here in the US, the same case, and in Europe too. There is this hybrid system of digital and hard copies is not good for anybody. But we have lived for 30,000 years in the paper world. We cannot remove papers. Now, everything is digital. It's not true. And when you try to exit the US, you need a passport. Oh, but Estonia has an electronic passport. Try to enter to the US with an electronic passport. They will request these little, in our case, blue books, and they will stamp. And if you go to global entry, maybe they will not stamping you, but when you go to Europe, they stamp, you know, Schengen zone, you know, and that's the way. There is not another way to work with. Also, when the IRS try to audit you, they will ask you, show me the papers, show me the bank statements, but everything is you can ask to Bank of America the last 5 years, show me the papers. I want to see everything in hard copies. And that will not change from today to tomorrow. Also, in another countries, if you want to collect your pension, if you are an old guy, you need to go to police before and tell them, write in a piece of paper that I'm still alive. And then I go to the bank, and they accept that I'm alive. You know? Stupid things, but that happen. And also, if you want to start to resume your studies, you go to a college or to university, they will request, show me your certificates, your diplomas. Oh, I have everything in digital. Show me the piece of paper, that cardboard that say diploma. Okay. And the registered systems that here, I will not say thanks to God, there are title companies. But in the rest of the world, there are registrar agencies that take care of that. Mortgages and property titles are not managed by title companies, are managed by these agencies. Also, when you are born, when you are married, there is a civil registry agency that take care of everything. Even when you die, they give you a death certificate that you need to go and show to the rest of the people, here I am, or here I'm not, and somebody will be collecting my pension or whatever. This is a life cycle of a file. When I went to the Harris County clerk and say, is this true? Because this is a Latin American picture. And he say, perfect. Please change office by department, because we don't say offices, we say departments. Was the only correction. Means that somebody originate something, and there are different departments that approve that, and then a decree appears, and that government act is done. The key here is that there are a lot of hands and paper. Same when I explained at the very beginning, if somebody replace a page and insert a new page, nobody notice, and the results are totally different. And we ask ourselves, looking NCIS or CSI, I don't know if you are familiar with those, chain of custody. Do you remember when Mac Harmon, AKA, which is the name of the guy, they put everything in a bag, they seal the bag and they sign? That is the chain of custody. It's to be sure that that proof cannot be tampered. In the case of legal documents, it's the same case. How I can prove somebody that the document that I signed was not tampered? The only way is to create a digital chain of custody certificate. In that way, and when we start our Document Forever project, we hire somebody that will be in the seminar, Mr. Whitaker, that is the best of the best in digital documents, in legal digital documents in the US. And he told us there are different ways to prove. You know, common law has not strict regulation that Napoleonic Code. And in the US, everything is common law with the exception of Louisiana. Louisiana is Napoleonic Code. But Europe is Napoleonic Code. Napoleonic Code means that what is not in the codes cannot be enforced. That's a problem with now is in the code, but at the very beginning, those problems of hackers, they cannot determine how to enforce him or sending him to jail. He said, you need to find a very simple way. Okay, we start thinking and we create my predecessor speaker talked about hash. I'm going to be more marketing approach. It's a digital fingerprint of the document. We make different hashes. We put all together. We put the day of entry of this digitized or digital document. Then the door of entry. What that means, the door of entry? Every computer has an IP address. Every computer has a MAC address or computer or device. And every procedure, if you're working on a government website, has a name of the procedure, et cetera, et cetera. That means that you can allocate all that information in one place. And the place is the blockchain. We save that information for every document that we create. We save that information in a blockchain. Why a blockchain? We are in a conference. I don't need to explain that. That means that the tamper-proofing of the document, we use the digital fingerprint, the date and time. We use the blockchain, and the document ownership. In the case of Document Forever, we try to encourage our clients to use a notary, because a notary or a lawyer in the port of entry and the port of exit allow us to be sure 99% or 100% that the judge will not question that. I always make the question, do you know this game, paper, scissors, and stone? Everybody play that. Okay, there is a new game. Paper against digital in a court of law. Do you know who wins? Paper, always. A piece of paper, always. If we are you are challenging, and we are challenging his will. He's a millionaire. He's spending time here because he wants $150 million playing with the phone now. You know, Salvador, he has $150 million, and he left half to each of us. You go to the court telling the $150 million are mine, and I come with a digital document, you win, period. That is the new game, and we need to understand that. We need to go and say, okay, hold on, review the document, maybe solder, because I have a new digital document that say that we will splitting that $150 million. And okay, this is, I tried to delete this, but Mr. Sackway said you need to explain what is blockchain. In front of you guys, I don't need to explain. I will go through this very fast. And something very important, the difference between a digital document and a digital act. Digital document is a digital document that can be scanned or can be born digital, like a Word document. Then you transform a PDF, but it's what's digital all the time. But the digital act is something that you are doing in front of. You are paying something to Amazon. You are paying your taxes. You are whatever. That act need to, in order not to be challenged, because a good lawyer can tell you, okay, you told, not here in the US because the IRS is very hard to deal with, but in other countries you say, okay, the local IRS in Argentina told me that I signed this, but a good lawyer will say, okay, and what happened if, how is the proof that you signed that? We have a digital signature. Where are the digital signatures stored? In our servers. And who take care of those servers? A good lawyer can destroy the case, you know. Digital act is very important also to record. And when you start writing in stone, not on water, when each act or each document has a digital chain of custody certificate stored in a blockchain. It's a very simple way. If somebody challenges that document, what I will do, I will use, because we use standard hashing, I will use that standard hashing, and I will request from our provider, sorry, but it's true, Factom, the blockchain, and I will confront the document against the new recalculation. I will recalculate the document that I have. If the hash is similar, it's okay. It's the document. And what we provide, we create this digital chain of custody certificate as a digital fingerprint, plus other information, plus the MAC address, plus the IP address, all together, saved in the blockchain. And also, for government, we recommend to use this very old new technology named WORM, write once, read many, to store the document. We don't store the document inside the blockchain. We store only the now, maybe in the future. We are storing only the chain of custody certificate. And the same process, every time that you add the document, you scan the document, you store the document, you create a certificate. That means if a file has 350 pages, you start the process, I work for them, with the folder, carátula, the first page, and one letter. Say, I'm trying to buy a computer, okay? I start the process. Those 2 pages create a certificate. Then somebody else say, okay, the brand of the computer, blah, 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 10 pages. You add that. Then you quote. There are 50 pages of quote. What I'm trying to say that is not 1 page per certificate or 1 certificate per page. It's a group of documents that can be certified, because you can make a hash of the amount of bytes, because at the end of the story, there are bytes, you know. The rest is a fiction. For digital acts, it's almost the same. And remember that sentence that the saying that Mr. Reagan said, trust but verify, when Gorbachev told him, we remove all the intercontinental rockets. Okay, I want to verify that. I trust you, but I want to verify that. That means that from the government perspective, we need to check time to time all the universe, some part of the universe, and also modify the regulation in order that every piece of paper, digital or digitized or scanned, has the respective chain of custody. Working with government is very hard. I was lucky, because when I arrived to the Córdoba province, they were not Y2K compliance. That means that we demolish, like people do here, buildings. You know, they remove everything and they start from scratch. But when you go there and say, oh my God, I need to modify my system, no. We want to find the moment of truth where you are storing the document. I will create an API and communicate and send information to the blockchain. Create a certificate and send the information. That means that we are not changing the way that you work. We don't want to go through your workflow. We don't want to optimize anything in the future. If they hire my colleague and you say, okay, I can optimize that, oh, perfect, no problem. But the concept is there, you know? For every document that you create, I don't care if you put a handwritten document or whatever, everything has a certificate. Something very important, they insist, all the Latin American regulation request that personal and individual information cannot be stored outside their country's boundaries. When I talked with the first time, 3 months ago, with the president of Argentina and the government modernization secretary, they explained me that they were creating 20 servers using blockchain in Argentina. They will be in the admin of everything and say, that is not a blockchain, you are using technology. But if you can access the 20 servers, means that you can fix, change, delete, whatever, each of them. That is not a blockchain concept, that is not a philosophy. And I convinced them, yes, you can request the provider, the world-class provider, to put a server inside your boundaries. 1, 2, 10, I don't care. But the blockchain concept is that need to be spread in different servers, 1,000. The more servers, the better. And also we suggest warp technology is not expensive. Maybe if you want to save the documents and the certificates too in a warm environment, I think that we can do that. At a glance, the benefits is a institutional quality. One of my professors at the university told me that word is not what you see, it's the perception that you have of what you see. Here, in the US, we accept that the government is not too much corrupted. It's an assumption, the Netherlands too, Spain, but if we go to Latin America, everybody feel, okay, that is not true. They are very corrupted. Means that if you say, I will be writing on stone, everything that I create inside the system means that I'm changing the way that people think. These people are not tempering the document because they want to, that one of their friends win the bid, you know? In our case, we have the experience with our website, Document Forever, that was possible. We create everything, but we were shopping a blockchain service. And not because Jay is here, but it's true. We went through Hyperledger. We failed after IBM asked the color of our underwear, everything. I want to know what you will be doing with my blockchain, and this and that. Say, no, I will not open my mouth until you tell me where is the service, how much cost. Very simple, if I will buy a car, I don't want a 100 question or questionnaire. Then we went to Microsoft. And our Microsoft experience was terrible because Microsoft wanted that we use Exchange the software, as the way to communicate between our system and the blockchains. No. We don't need an additional layer that we need to be administrating. And then we met him, and 2 days and 1 hour of discussion, 2 days because in order to arrange meetings and things like that, and 1 hour of discussion, we agreed to sign with them, financial, economical, and technical. And something very important, when my technical guy connect with Andrew, is one of your team members, they start working, and my guy from Argentina say, where's the manual? I want to read the 100-page how to implement this. And Andrew say, if you buy an iPhone, do you need a manual? How many people here has an iPhone? The manual come with the iPhone? No. It's a phone. Here is, okay, they provide the APIs and everything, and we start working half a day without a problem. Also, with the University of Houston Law Center, we are trying to, I would say, water. We see a piece of land, we water a piece of land, prepare the land to convince, because this is not a technological problem. This is a legal problem. You need to convince the legislators. They are not technical guys. They are lawyers, they are accountants, maybe 1 or 2 engineers. But they are people that they see everything from the legal perspective. And we need to convince them, you need to change the regulations in order that we can implement this. That is what we are doing. Okay, and that's all. You will have this presentation if you need it through you, Jay. I will be sending to you or to Juanita. And
any questions?
Shoot.
My name's Jim. So I think it gets into, even if you can prove all this stuff on the blockchain and all that, and even it still gets into the politics of it and corruption and things potentially. I mean, you can look at something and say this is this, but they may still fudge it and say it's not exactly that. So does that get into a little bit, or?
At the end of the story, if somebody challenge a document, of course,
even digital, in other words, even blockchain,
blockchain is very hard.
Because they said it's just concrete and all that, but nothing's concrete with lawyers and stuff, as you know. Nothing is.
Okay, in order to be sure that this works, we need to go and change the regulations.
Okay.
We need to convince them this need to be acceptable. You need to enforce that every piece of paper that goes through the government need to be scanned and need to be generated a chain of custody certificate that will be stored in the blockchain.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, I guess that's my question. It seems like it's just high friction, right? So the ability to do what you just said as a government to, scan all the documents and put them in a database and attach them to the blockchain. I mean, I'm wondering what the adoption model that you think would be successful, because I'm sure, it's a great idea. I think we all kind of agree with that, but my God, to get this actually working and people to adopt it seems like
Okay, my answer is the following. There are a lot of countries, at least in Latin America, that are trying to remove the corruption stigma from them. Argentina is one case. Brazil will be tomorrow if Bolsonaro wins. Please don't laugh. Bolsonaro is a soft version of Donald Trump, you know? But it's better than the other one, you know? And the key here is you need to convince them that they need to enforce. If you ask me, the Argentinian federal government scan all the documents? Yes, they scan every document that go through their systems, everything. The problem is that you need to enforce. If somebody don't add the document doesn't exist, even if you bring me a piece of paper. I need to validate that piece of paper with a digital copy with a certificate. That is the reason that you need to go through the lawyers, through the politics, not through the technical guys. The technical guys, when I meet him half an hour before we meet the president of the country, he told me, everything is solved. We don't need you. Okay, great. If you think that you don't need us, what I'm doing here? You pay me the ticket to come from the US to Argentina to make this presentation. If you think that everything is ready. No. The president wants to hear what you will be telling. I made this presentation in Spanish, of course. This presentation, the same, you know. And now we are hired to write the request for proposal in order to implement this.
So maybe a financial question, if you can expose this. So the unit cost to secure this on the blockchain, like what is the cost factor?
Cents. Maybe you need to ask him how much it costs to write one blockchain. Cents, nothing.
So do you charge, like, are you charging the government per unit? How does that work? Like if you're building,
the idea is that we implement the APIs and the government deal with the blockchain provider. We don't want to be in the middle. We are not adding anything. We make the research inside the system, determine these are the moments of truth that you need to send the information to the certificate, how you will be doing the audits, and things like that. How you recover a blockchain if it's needed, you know. No more than that, you know. We are not intermediaries. That will not fly. At least in Latin America, will not fly.
So the payment goes to Factum. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Oh, I got it.
Yes.
And that the premise is that cost, ongoing cost, because you pay ongoing for every document forever and ever, I guess, for it to be secured. The premise is that is, you know, significantly less than whatever. I mean, how do you sell the business case? I guess that's what I'm trying to ask.
The answer is this. If you continue, I scan all the document was the first affirmation in front of the president that the Secretary of Modernization say, yes, and what? Where are you storing that in our databases? Okay, I challenge your databases. A lawyer challenges databases. The lawyer industry, sorry if there is a lawyer here, is huge here and everywhere. They are waiting for that, okay? There is not a counterpart. The case is, do you want to solve this once and forever? This will be a transparent government like Finland? Yes, do this. And for your information, it's not complicated. It's easy to implement. One of the accountants say, okay, how they will be charging us? Because, you know, in public bids, it's a closed number. You cannot buy by the transaction. And I asked the question, how do you hire HP to print all the payroll? Because you don't know. Okay, we buy 2 million copies. Same case, buy 2 million transactions. And in the bid, you say, if we overflow those transactions, we will be adding another 2 million. You know, again, in my case, I was there. I know all the tricks because government are not ruled by the politicians that were elected. Government are ruled by the bureaucracy that is there and in the US. Do you think that Mr. Pompeo, our Secretary of State, decides something, or all the bureaucracy that has below? Come on. I'm not saying nothing bad, it's the truth, you know? Okay, sorry about my Spanglish, but maybe I can switch to German or to Portuguese to be more clear, but thank you for the opportunity that you hear my presentation. We are now working with the Chilean government. Same case, we are going next month. First week of December, we will be there. And the approach is the same. This is, do you want to be Finland? I removed that slide from here because it was too much aggressive. Finland is, according international, I don't know which the agency that evaluate corruption, is the best of the best. It's a culture issue. Yes, change culture is not easy. But if you put the right barriers, it's easy, you know? Here, I drive every 2 weeks from Dallas to Houston. And now, we're humans. We start raising the speed, 80, 85, in a corridor where it's 65 the maximum. Everybody go 80 or 85 until all the packs slow down. Why? Because there is a cop there. Put the barriers. In these cases, everything needs to go through this. If everything goes through this, nobody will challenge that you are making changes. You tell the people, if at the time that we have a real document, we confront this document to the digital document, need to be the same, you know. It's not technical. It's marketing. I think when I was hearing my colleague from the Netherlands, he presents some cases, the same topic, you know. It's more about the way that you approach. You find how to give them a solution. In our case, we don't want to be too intrusive because I used to be in the IT, very, very strong involved in the IT industry. Every time that I create a new software, it was a monster. Not because it was good, it was bad. So I need to kill this and create a new one because everybody that you create a piece of software is not the best that you imagine, you know? Or when you finish the software, it's old. Don't try to go against the people that manage the system. Tell them, I need to find the moment of truth. Here, please add this line that will be calling an API with this information. No more. And because I don't trust them, because I can put an on-off switch, time to time, run an audit and verify that all the document has the respective chain of custody. Again, Mr. Reagan was very clear, trust but verify. Thank you.